Special Sky News report on the crisis. Ebola, the front line, at 4:30 this afternoon. Well, let's have a look through the newspapers for you this morning. For the last time today with model Chelsey J and city trader Michael Jarman. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
You're miles away. You're absolutely miles. I don't know what we've done. We can't. You're absolutely miles away this morning. Never mind. Let's have a look. Oh, Rosie Millard is in the eye this morning, one of our regulars here on Sky News, looking at onward women soldiers.
Yeah, apparently within 2 years we could actually be seeing women on the front line. Obviously it's been spoke about for ages, you know, should this happen, should it not happen? There's a lot of what I would say very silly reasons why not. You know, and I think it's almost people speaking for women instead of actual women speaking for themselves. There's that sort of question, you know, can women keep up with men? That's really the main sort of priority. And, you know, you have to test these things out, carry out tests. If their ability matches men, then regardless whether they're women or not, obviously it shouldn't be a problem.
We do know, talking to the Defence Secretary yesterday, though, MJ, I mean, one of the big issues that they're determined to look at is physiology. Yeah. Can women do the job that would be required of them without causing physical harm, without causing psychological damage? It is a different situation out there, and they said we've got a duty of care to get to the bottom of that, as they would with men.
Yeah, but again, this comes back to the fact that they are professionals at the end of the day, and they're going to run and make sure that the tests are stringent enough to ensure that no one is being slipped through the net, as it were, that they are capable of doing the job. You've got to remember as well, women are increasingly more and more, as Rosie rightly has said, is that they're being thrown into conflict zones anyway, so they're getting used to the physicality of the job. The question is that final step? Can women take on the front line? I have met...
And do they have the killer instinct?
Yes,
what
but...
are they going in for? Do you know what I mean? They know they're not going to be petting kittens and, you know... Yeah. Me, if I was on the front line, I'd be a nightmare, but not just obviously because of disability, but, you know, I wouldn't be able to handle that job. But that's me as an individual. You know, these women are going into it. They know what they're doing. Yeah. You don't go into the army on a whim, do you?
Any woman that does it has to be in tune with their
But the bottom line is, the average woman is not as strong as the average man. So if you've got an infantry unit, say 8 people in that, and you've got a woman, is she not going to be the weakest link, if you like?
I don't know. No,
on the front line.
I've said this on air already once. I know the head of the staffing, the security of Matchroom Boxing. Her name's Speedy, and she is a tough cookie. This is what I'm saying. If a woman signs up for this type of job, I think they're going to be more than capable. They're not wimpy birds,
are they? They're going to be hardy women.
Yeah. Oh, I broke a nail. I can't shoot my gun. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Well,
if they're for the job and they're capable, let them at it.
Talk about telling it how it is. Chelsey J says they're not wimpy birds. No, and do you know what? If any women in the armed forces watching this morning, I bet they'll be loving that, because that's absolutely right.
Don't speak for them. They're not victims. You know, don't put them in that bracket. It's not fair.
They'll be as hard as the men are, which is
tough as nails.
You know,
we carry babies, don't we?
Well, oh, let's not even go down that line.
We'll be back.
Let's not even go down that line.
There.
MJ, the Telegraph says this has been the worst Christmas on record for the NHS.
Note of caution, this one's front page of the Daily Telegraph. Last week we had 111,000 registered cases of people running into A&E. It's the highest since records began a decade ago. The report has shown that 44,000 patients were asked to wait for 4 hours or longer, and even worse, on 113 occasions over a period of 6 weeks. They haven't been able to get ambulances out to people that have been clearly in need or have requested an ambulance service. So the report does, obviously, it's fearful because obviously Christmas, there's probably going to be less bodies because of people taking holidays, so they may be understaffed. Also, flu, I think, is at a 3-year high as well. And plus, of course, alcohol consumption, as we know, pretty much so doubles over the festive.
The big question is this being driven partly by the fact that people can't get an appointment at their GPs?
Yes, and that's what they have gone on to state, actually. They've said that the fact that GPs are closing, that may be another deciding factor as to why it's happened. But again, I was going to say that the main thing here is, I think, for anyone, look, not that you purposely mean to pay a visit to A&E, but if you are drinking, you know, just drink diligently, have a little bit of self-discipline here, and remember this is what you could be in for should you decide to self-inflict any pain on yourself and have to pay a visit to A&E.
That's a very sensible point. This is interesting that you picked in the Telegraph, Chelsey, because I've wondered about this. You know, this ruling in this EU court that obesity should be at least considered under some circumstances to be a disability. Boris says that's insulting to people like you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's really, really important to, really through life you should carry this. You cannot tar everyone with the same brush. You know, there is people that are larger because of medical reasons, because of medication that they could be taking, you know, that they can't control. And, you know, in a sense, that is like a disability. You know, I can't control what my body's done to me, and they're in exactly the same boat. There are obviously people that are in control. They just obviously don't eat right, they don't exercise. Those people should not be considered disabled, because if you're disabled, it's through something that you can't control. You know, if you're carrying a lot of extra timber purely because of your lifestyle, then that's your fault. You know, I think it's really important that people need to take responsibility for yourself. You know, you can't always, you know, just let these things happen and be like, oh, it's okay because I can fall back on the fact that I can, you know, be disabled. You don't ever let yourself get to that point.
Yeah, and what worried me about this at the time is the idea that some people would be desperate to sort of relax back onto disability protection, whereas I can imagine actually that's the last thing you would want to do.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. I mean, I find it very, very strange for anyone to be comfortable with that sort of lifestyle. I mean, you know, I certainly wouldn't wish this upon anybody. So I find it really odd when people almost welcome it in a way, because they're letting, you know, they're literally just lost control of what's going on with their life and looking after themselves. So yeah, I must admit I do agree with old Boris on this one.
Love it. Great to get your thoughts, particularly on that. We're going to take a break. Back with more for you in just a moment.
Critics are raving about Birdman.
It was weird, but it was kind of cool.
It's hilarious.
Are you drunk?
Fearless.
Why don't you get your wings in your bird suit, man?
A triumph on every level.
This is the kind